Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. This video is going to be a little bit different from a reading. I was called to do this in meditation last week, but it didn't feel like the right time. It feels like the right time today. Now, I did try to record this video and do these channel messages earlier in the day, but the energy felt very strange. It felt very heavy, like there was some of that anxiety and that collective fear that was moving through me to be transmuted. And so I pulled back and stopped the recording and did the daily energy draws instead. And messages came forth through those dailies very fluidly. So I feel like those needed to be recorded possibly even first. But I was called to do this message to talk about what is happening in the world from a higher perspective, from a spiritual perspective. This has been coming forth in the readings we've been doing for the collective, for Sacred Union energy updates over the past 2 weeks. So you can always go back and look at those readings. And actually, what they're reminding me of is not just the past few weeks. We were talking about this back in January and February, but I didn't know exactly what was going to happen. In the Healer Warrior reading, which I will post in the description box below, because that was very powerful channel messages in that video. What they had channeled to me was the Bastille song Pompeii, "The World is Crumbling Down." Now, I had gotten the lyrics wrong, and when I went to correct them, Spirit actually stopped me and said, "No, you're right." The lyrics are actually, "The walls are crumbling down." We were talking about the Divine Masculine at that time and how the walls and the guards that they had put up were actually crumbling down. But they said, "You're right, the world is crumbling down because there are mass awakenings that are happening at this time." I didn't entirely understand that until this past week, the past 2 weeks, when everything came to a head with this COVID-19. So what I'm going to do is we're going to talk about this. Give me a second. Just want to make sure I have this right. We're in new moon energy right now. We have a new moon in, we have a new moon in Aries coming up this week. So you guys might be feeling some of the effects of that, plus the energy from this pandemic, from this global event that's happening right now. So do make sure that you stay in a place of balance. Do make sure that you come to a place of inner peace. If you are feeling the collective fear, make sure that you are transmuting that, allowing yourself to feel what you're feeling. Don't be afraid to feel those emotions, but don't stay stuck in that energy. Transmute that. That is what you have been learning on this ascension journey, how to transmute that, how to release that without attaching a story to it. We're going to talk about what's going on to shed a little bit of light, to shed a little bit of hope, and to kind of counteract the fear, the anxiety, and the uncertainty that is in the collective consciousness at this time. Lightworkers really are stepping up. Lightworkers, starseeds, way showers, earth angels, however it is that you resonate, those of you who are on this ascension journey, this is what you have been preparing for, really. This is the shift. This is the global shift into new earth. And it's a very exciting time. I mean, you can't help but be excited, even among the fear, even among the uncertainty, because it's always been on the horizon. It's almost felt like it was something that was maybe even impossible, but it's happening. It's happening. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. Just kind of shed some hope and some light on the situation and pull back and look at it, not so much from a 3D material perspective, a physical perspective, but from the higher plane, what is actually happening from the soul's perspective. We're going to look at it individually, we're going to look at it globally, and we're going to look at it in the context of Sacred Union. And again, we have talked about this on the channel in the recent past, recent readings, but we're really going to bring it all together here today. So stay with us. So I do want to start off by saying that we cannot ignore the current reality, the current collective reality. Remember, you guys are powerful creators. You're co-creating with the universe. You are one with the universe. You are the universe itself, just incarnated into a physical body. you're taking back your power. You're taking back your sovereign self, your soul self, understanding how powerful you are and that you can manifest your reality, that your thoughts create your reality. If you focus on the fear, that's going to bring about more fear. If you focus on the love and that positive energy, that creates forward momentum for more positive energy, and you manifest that into your physical world. You have a choice, either path you can take, but as within, so without. What you hold within you, that primary vibration that you hold within you, is what you manifest into your physical 3D world. The 3D world is just energy. It's just frequency. It's just vibration. And yes, it might be tangible as far as what you can see, hear, taste, touch, and smell, but it's energy first and foremost. And you create that. You manifest that by your thoughts, by your vibration, by the frequency that you hold within. So that's individual. But then as a collective, we also have a collective physical reality. So the more people who hold a vibration of one thought, the more that manifests into the physical reality. So if everyone holds a thought of fear and chaos and uncertainty and anxiety, that's what manifests in the physical environment as a collective, into your physical reality as a collective. If you hold a vibration of love and peace and harmony and joy, those higher energy vibrations or vibrational energies, that's what manifests as a collective into your physical collective reality. So you can't ignore the current reality because it's there, it's existing. It's what the collective had manifested previously. But like I said before, you have a choice individually and as a collective to take the present moment and create a new future. Your point right here, right now, your present reality is from a past version of yourself that made choices and had thoughts that created the current reality that you're living in right now. This is you as an individual and from a broad scale, the world. So, for example, somebody thought of, factories. Say there was a solution that needed to be had as far as mass production of items. And so as a collective, factories came into existence. You can say the same about schools, teaching. You can say the same about anything. It was vibration. It was thoughts. It was collective thoughts that came into existence. And the more that was accepted, the more that was focused upon, the more that expanded into the collective reality. Everything starts with a single thought. The same with your physical reality. Say that you are trying to manifest, money, finances, a relationship, whatever it is. The more you focus on that, the more it comes into existence. I mean, there's a lot more about manifestation. If you're new to all of this, there's a lot more than just focusing on it. But we're talking about the vibration. We're talking about thoughts. We're talking about focus. What you focus on is what persists. What you create is what the thoughts that you hold is what manifests into your outside world. So we had created leading up to, if you look back, you recognize that this wasn't sustainable. The way we were creating the world, the way we were focusing on the world, the thoughts that we were thinking, the vibration that we were holding as a collective wasn't sustainable because of the choices that we as a collective and individually were making. There have been great strides. There has been a lot of protection put into place as far as the environment, as far as animal and human rights, a lot of wonderful advancements as far as medicine, technologies, even, work environments. There has been a lot of advancements because of choices that people were making, thoughts that they were putting into being, that they were manifesting. But as a whole, as a collective, it wasn't sustainable. We were still going down a pretty negative path because it was holding a vibration of lack mentality, scarcity mindset, and fear. And everything accompanied by that, greed and which is lack mindset, emotional disassociation, things of that negative nature, that the lower vibrational energies, we were holding that as a collective. But now we've reached a point where there have been so many who have been holding vibration of peace and love and harmony and balance that the scales have been tipping, especially over the past, they're telling me 100 years. The past 100 years have seen significant change within collective consciousness. And it's because of the individuals, your individuals and your one. Unity consciousness is recognizing the individuality of from a soul perspective, but that we're all interconnected. We are all bound by the same energetic substance. We all come from the same source energy, whatever it is, God, the universe, source energy, the divine, whatever it is that you want to call it, we all come from that same pure divine love. That's unity consciousness. We're made up of that same energy. We're all interconnected here. And so with that recognition, what we're understanding is we have the power to create a new future. And enough light workers came together, were incarnated here in this time and space, right here, right now. This time and space, this lifetime, came together to shift the paradigm. Because what was happening wasn't good. It wasn't of a high vibration. It wasn't made of love. It was corruption. It was greed. It was control. It was manipulation. And those are all of a lower vibration. Those aren't energies of love. And so we're moving into this new earth. We're moving into a higher dimensional consciousness. Okay, so that's what's happening on a broader scale. So we can't ignore the current reality. We can't ignore, just because we want to move into new earth, just because we want that peace and harmony, we can't ignore the reality that surrounds us now. But we can hold the vibration, the higher vibration, which is what is going to shift the world around us. And that's what we're seeing. We're seeing the shift. So I say that as a disclaimer to educate yourself, prepare yourself, be logical, and take precautions as necessary for your own safety, for your own well-being and health, physical and emotional, and for the health, safety, and well-being of others. That's my disclaimer. Do not ignore the current reality just because we are shifting into new earth. Okay, and just because your vibrations might be high. There is a lot of upheaval happening as a collective right now. There's a lot of fear in the collective right now because there's a lot of uncertainty. And so our jobs right now, because we are able to see the higher perspective, is to hold that frequency of love and light, but not to discount the suffering and challenges that others are facing at this time. Okay, so first of all, let's talk about what's happening on an individual level, almost like on a micro scale. So what's happening for individuals is, like I said, there are mass awakenings that are happening right now. We had talked about this over the past few months, that January was going to see a shift in timelines where we're going to be walking through the door to New Earth. And New Earth is a shift in consciousness. Any dimension is just a shift in understanding and consciousness. It's a higher energy of love. And when you're in a higher energy of love, you still exist on the physical plane, but your experience changes because you're experiencing that love. For example, if you're in a low vibrational energy and you're too focused on, say, for example, the 3D, the material world, then you'll exist, or you'll feel the dense energy. You'll feel your energy get drained. You'll feel that being pulled down. Your soul will feel like it has weights on it. You might be unhappy in a job. You might have a lack of finances. You might feel like you never have enough. You might engage in the wrong relationships, although no relationship is wrong because everything is here to teach us. But not the relationship that you truly crave, not the relationship that you truly want. That is all that lower density, that lower vibrational energy, that 3D physical plane, that third dimension energy. When you begin to awaken and ascend, you see that there's so much more than the physical reality that you exist in. It's the matrix. It is what you create. You can see this in Inception. You can see this in the Matrix. You create your reality. The outside reality is just illusion. It's a projection, a hologram of what you hold within. So if you're focused on negative energy, this always happens to me. I don't ever have finances. I don't ever have XYZ. I don't ever have a loving relationship. That's what you're going to project into your reality. That's what you're going to experience because you're calling it in. If you focus on abundance mindset, I'm always provided for. I'm always protected. I always have enough. I always have loving energy around me because I am made of love and I am worthy of love. Then that's the frequency you maintain, and that's how the universe responds to you. You create the reality around you. That's what co-creating with the universe is, because you are one with the universe. And so as you emit a certain frequency, the universe then responds to that frequency. There is never lack within the universe. The universe is infinite. And we as humans can't really fathom what infinity really is. We have a basic understanding of it. We might understand what it is in a mathematical sense, but we can't truly fathom what infinity really is. Here's the beautiful part of ascension and spiritual awakening. It's an understanding of, as you grow and expand, so does the universe grow and expand, because the universe is growing and expanding with you, because you are the universe. You are part of the universe. And so that's the infinite nature of the universe. It is always evolving and always expanding because you're... Sorry, guys. I was on a roll. My dogs were barking. All right. So what was I saying? Just as you are evolving and expanding, so is the universe always evolving and expanding. That is the infinite nature of you both, because you are limitless as a soul. And as the universe is limitless. Because it's the universe. And isn't that awesome? Isn't that amazing? So that is your power. That is how you create your outside world. What you hold within is what you manifest without. So there are mass awakenings that are happening right now on the planet, where a lot of people are waking up to a new consciousness, a new way of looking at things, a new way of looking at themselves. Not just as human, but understanding that they are soul incarnated, that they are soul in this human body, that they came here to experience life, that they came to experience what it means to be human, and as such, that they came to experience soul in a physical incarnation. And so part of that is understanding that being in a physical incarnation, you have experienced that dense energy, where you experience that lack mindset, you experience that lack mentality, that scarcity mindset. But that was for the experience. That was to understand duality. That was to understand how limitless and powerful you truly are, and how expansive you truly are, and that there is no lack. There is no scarcity. There is only abundance. And as soul, you are only abundant. And so that's what we're shifting into. And people are starting to wake up more and more to this understanding, to this realization. I'm not going to get into spiritual awakening and ascension as a whole right now. You can always, look at the other readings on my channel, or, do your own research as far as what awakening and ascension really is if you're new to that, if you're just waking up. If you're here watching this now, then you're part of this path now. You were guided to this video and you're watching this for a purpose. But for the majority of my viewers here, you've already been on this path. So I'm going to pull back from that a little bit. But what's happening with the mass awakenings is people are going through a massive upheaval because their consciousness is shifting. Their reality is shifting. Their understanding of reality is shifting. They're understanding that there's so much more to reality. There's so much more to the world. There's so much more to the universe and to themselves as soul than what they had ever imagined. That they're not just human. That they're not just humans on this planet. That they're interconnected with all living consciousness, with all living things, animals, plants, even galactic starseeds, higher dimensional beings, what others might call extraterrestrials. It all exists. This is all living consciousness. And spirit team, angels, archangels, spirit guides, it is all embodied in the universe. It's the energy of, it's not just what you can see, but it's what you feel. It's what you feel. You don't have to see it to believe it. You just have to trust your own inner knowing. And they're starting to understand that there's more to the world and more to their reality than the narrow mindset that they had once had. Now, there's no judgment there because we have all been there. We have all been there. And those of us who are understanding of this and have shifted in that consciousness through this ascension journey already, we are just serving as guides. But everybody, just like we have guides who are ahead of us, who are leading us and have led us on the journey. We are all exactly where we're meant to be, in the exact right time, in the exact right place, for not just our own soul's growth, but for the growth of the planet as a whole. It's almost like everybody had their time slot in which to awaken, based on what their soul needed to experience, the karma that they needed to play out, the lessons that they needed to learn, the experience that they needed to have for their own soul growth and expansion. Everybody has a path. Everybody has a trajectory. But what's happening now is the universe is saying, it's time. It's time for global awakening. It's time for these mass awakenings. It is time for the earth itself to change and shift. And in order for the earth itself to change and shift, we need you to change and shift. And that's why we're incarnated here. So what individuals are experiencing now is fear, because we don't like change. We are comfortable in the lives that we live. We're comfortable with going to work every day. We're comfortable with taking care of our families. We're comfortable with the Netflix and chills. We like it. It's what we know. We don't know anything else. The more we expand our minds, the more we invite in and welcome in our, true soul self, the more we wake up to the fact that that wasn't satisfactory. That's not where our passion is leading us. I always say that your emotions are your soul's navigational system. If something is draining your energy, if something doesn't feel good, you know it's not right for you. That's you trusting your own intuition. If something really lights you up, if something really brings out that passion inside of you, that's where you're meant to be going, because that's your soul that is trying to sing and break free and get you on your right path. But for so long, we've been asleep to our own soul. We've been listening to other people influence us and tell us and have expectations and tell us where it is they want us to go based on their experiences or their opinions or their insights. And yes, we can listen to other people's opinions and insights. But at the end of the day, we have to trust ourselves. And we can't follow anybody else. We have to follow ourselves and trust ourselves. Trust our soul. Your soul knows where it wants to go. And you're going to meet other like-minded people along the path who are listening to their soul. And you're going to come together in this beautiful soul family and do wonderful, wonderful things together. And people are starting to understand this and wake up to this. And so what's happening now, especially with this virus, is this is a mass change. We see this when any major event happens, any tragic event happens. We've seen this with the World Wars. We've seen this with 9/11. Any mass event comes mass awakenings. And it's because there has to be something that pushes us as a catalyst out of our comfort zones to wake us up, to say the way I was living wasn't truly serving me. Maybe it served the past version of me, but it's not serving me anymore. And this is happening on a global scale now. And so individuals are really starting to understand this. They're really starting to understand that maybe the job that they were doing, the 9 to 5, they didn't really like. Maybe they really want to open up a bakery or open up, write a book or do art or open up a dance studio or 1,000 different things that they could be doing that lights them up. but it wasn't serving them because they were trapped in this cycle of, this is making me money because of that lack mindset. Remember, this is making me money, so I have to do this. This is what's expected of me, so I have to do this, rather than listening to the soul of themselves. So what's happening is this event is serving as a catalyst. Now, it's also, how do I say this? It's also, those of us on the ascension journey know what it's like to purge. What we like to call purge. It's release, it's heal, it's clearing any energy, any toxic energy that isn't serving us anymore. It's making us really look at the shadow sides of ourselves, the unpleasant sides of ourselves, our traumas, our flaws, our weaknesses, looking at our karma that we have maybe accrued throughout this lifetime and even past lifetimes. Anywhere where we are triggered, anywhere where we feel a negative energy, that's shadow. That's something that we have to look at in order to heal and clear so that we can raise in vibration. That's what's happening as well right now, is people are being forced into this kind of isolation in order to really, number one, take a break. This is a reset. This is a rest period. But it's also a time for reflection. Are the things that you have been so accustomed to doing that it seems almost routine really making you happy, really filling your life with joy, really keeping your vibrations high, really serving yourself or the planet? The answer for the majority is no. Again, it's going to work every day at the same old job where you're just getting a paycheck, but it's not lighting you up. It's actually draining your energy. Maybe it's keeping you away from your family. Maybe your family has a little bit of a toxic environment that you need to heal. And so this is bringing you together in order to heal. There's 1,000 different scenarios that are being played out right now because of this event. And all is served to help us clear that toxic energy, clear the karma, and understand ourselves better. And it's interesting, what I just heard was, it's that saying of, who you were before the storm is not going to be the same as who you are when you come out. I probably got that wrong, but who you were before the storm is not going to be the same as when you come back out. That's what any major event in our life does. It wakes us up. I know I've had that many times in my lifetime where, especially with my illness, it served as a catalyst to me to wake me up to the way that I was living. I wasn't truly living. There were a dozen lessons, more than I ever could have imagined, that I learned on my journey with chronic illness. But it served as a catalyst to really wake me up to me, woke me up to my own awareness of myself. I've always been very self-aware, but this was on a different level. This was shifting in my consciousness, not just about myself and my role in the world, but the world as a whole. And that's really what's happening. The way we were doing things wasn't sustainable, and people are beginning to understand that. The way that they were doing things on a micro level within their own lives wasn't working for them. It wasn't making them happy. It wasn't bringing them joy. It was routine. It was just something that was expected of them. It was obligation. It was duty. It was sacrifice. And it wasn't allowing their soul to really rise, their soul to really sing. Now, I can hear some in the collective saying, well, we do what we have to. That's our responsibility. But that's, again, that lack mindset. That's that scarcity mindset. That's where we're moving out of. That's old conditioning. You have been conditioned by society to think that you're only capable of XYZ, to think that you're only limited to XYZ. What you're starting to understand, or you will understand, is how limitless you are and how anything truly is impossible. There is nothing that is finite in this universe. Nothing. Nothing is finite within this universe. Anything is possible. Anything is limitless. Because you are limitless, because you are infinite. And that is what is starting to happen, is you're starting to understand this. Individuals, as a collective, are starting to understand this, the power within themselves. And it's going to manifest in a number of different ways. It's going to be different for every single person. But as a collective, that's what they're really waking up to. Okay, so on a global scale now, what's happening is there's a reset that is happening. Because micro, macro, macro, micro, what we experience on the micro level is also what's happening from a broader perspective. So the way we were doing things as a society, as a whole, was not sustainable. Our economic practices, politics, teaching, ecological, everything that we were doing, I'm hearing, was killing the planet. It wasn't sustainable, and we know it. We know it. And we have been trying to fight it. That's where people were really waking up over the past few years, especially since 2012, was a major shift energetically on the planet as a whole, where there were a lot of awakenings that were happening. There was a shift energetically where we were really moving towards this right here, right now. Because this is the reset button. This is the starting point. This is the actual shift into New Earth, this higher dimensional consciousness. And there are a lot of us who have already been here and who have already anchored in. But this is opening the doorway for everybody. So the universe needed Earth itself and the people on it to take a pause. Again, it's all interconnected. So the first part is not, that we talked about individuals, is not exempt from this part. The Earth needed everybody to take a pause so that she could reset, so that she could reclaim herself energetically, but also so that people could wake up. So this is all inclusive. I really hope that this is making sense. I'm all channeling this, so I really don't know what I'm saying as I'm translating it, so I'm really hoping that it's making sense here. There's a reset that's happening. We're going to start seeing things that are changing. Systems are going to be crumbling so that we could start over. Humanity is going to be shifting into more inclusiveness, into more interconnectedness, into more love, into more compassion, into more understanding. Now, I'm also hearing, well, how can that be when I'm seeing XYZ in the physical world? You will see that if you look for it. You will see that if you focus on it. But if you focus on love, that is also what you'll see. What they're reminding me of is Mr. Rogers' quote, where he said, "My mother always said that in the face of any disaster to look for the helpers. You'll always find the helpers." That's this energy. If you look for the people who are hoarding food and toilet paper and looting and being generally jackasses, guess what? You're going to find that. But if you focus on the best of humanity, and that's not saying, you're not going to see that, but keep your vibrations high in the face of that. Because your high vibrations, your energy of love will circumvent that, will cancel that out, will cancel out that fear. Love has such a powerful pull. It's the strongest energy there is. That high vibration will ripple out and affect everybody around you. It has such a strong field. It has the biggest field, the biggest energy field there is, so that will naturally affect the people around you and help to raise their vibrations. So even if you're seeing somebody who, for example, is being a jackass, if you are negative in return, then guess what? You're just two people who are being negative, and that brings your vibrations down. But if you maintain your peace, if you maintain a sense of compassion and love, and look at that person as soul, look at that person and say, oh, that person is acting out of fear. Let me send them love, which I know is hard to do, but keep doing it. Keep practicing that. Keep practicing compassion. Keep practicing love. Well, guess what? They will at least energetically feel that. They might not acknowledge it, but they will energetically feel it. And that will shift something within the universe. I'm also hearing that it's karma. So if you react in a negative fashion to negativity, then that just perpetuates the karmic cycle of negativity. But if you react from a place of love, then that karma negates the fear. it cancels out the fear. It brings positive karma because karma is just energy. So it brings positive karma to the situation, and that positive karma cancels out the fear. That's science. That's energetics. That's physics, where the positive cancels out the negative. So you maintaining your vibrations and that high energy is going to help to shift the planet. It's going to help to shift the entire paradigm. This is a process that has been happening for centuries, for decades, for years. And it has been adding up and leading up to this point right now, this pivotal moment right here, right now. So financial systems are crumbling. Politics are shifting and changing because this is really a new world where the old corruption and manipulation and control, the old paradigm, it doesn't have a stronghold anymore. Because people, as you start to awaken, people will start to understand their strength, their own power, their own sovereignty. And they will not be, for lack of a better word, they give me the word, they will not be enslaved to any system anymore. They will realize their sovereignty, their power, their strength, and their own divinity. Now, I want to touch on this really quickly. There have been, for lack of a better word, conspiracy theories on what is happening here with the virus. I believe that there's truth in every conspiracy. I don't like the word conspiracy because that has this hoax energy to it, and I just don't like it. It has a low vibrational energy to it. I believe that there's truth. I believe that that comes from a place of truth. But the more you follow that rabbit hole, the more you're at risk of being pulled back down into that low vibrational dense energy. Because the more you're following one person or a group of people rather than your own intuition, rather than what your own soul is speaking to you. And when you go down that rabbit hole, what happens is there's even more division. Because what happens is they put, it's politics. It's just politics by another name. They divide parties. They divide people. They divide the awakened versus the unawakened. They say you're a sheep versus you're awake. And that just creates more division. And so you're just getting pulled into a loop of the matrix by another name. And you might think that you're being enlightened by following the rabbit hole and following those conspiracy theories. Again, they have truth in them. There is truth in them. But you have to trust yourself. You have to use your own discernment. You have to trust in what your soul is saying to you. Again, be educated. Be aware. Read up on things. But don't blindly follow anyone. Use your own mind. Use your own heart. Use your own intuition. Connect with yourself and connect with your spirit team. Don't blindly follow just because it's a rabbit hole. Just because there are other light workers or people who are in the spiritual community who are saying XYZ. That's where especially we're learning on the Ascension journey. Use your own discernment, your own thinking, and your own connection to spirit and yourself to find out the truth, because it is your truth. Okay, I did want to say that because there's a lot of stuff going on around here, and it does feel, even in the lightworker community, it does feel very low vibrational. I'm not discounting it. I'm not saying that there's not truth to it, but when they're, the way that they're going about it feels very low vibrational. I'm not trying to judge or anything. I'm just trying to say, beware and use your own discernment and trust yourself and stay in that high vibration of energy of love. Because we are all one. We are all in this together. There is no us or them. We are all in this together. And even those who are unawakened, we must have compassion for them. We must share the light with them. We must share love with them, because it is a scary, scary time for them. It is a challenging time for them. And, we've been there too. It's a dark night of the soul for the planet. That's what it really is. It's a dark night of the soul for the planet, where people are being challenged. They're questioning their beliefs. They're questioning their reality. They're questioning everything that they once had faith in. And so it is our role as guides, as leaders, to really step up into our strength, into our light, and shine more brightly, so that people can find their own light and their own strength and their own sovereignty. Really important message right there. I hope you guys heard it. Okay, so globally, we talked a little bit about what's happening globally. It's a reset for the planet. It's a rebirth for the planet. And it's a shift in consciousness. The world is crumbling down, just like I talked about in the beginning of this video. But what's actually happening is it's the tower. We built this world on a false foundation. Now, what we had channeled a very long time ago, and you can find this somewhere in the channeled messages, was that we talked about this with, I think it was the Divine Masculine. But we can see it on a macro scale. We had built a foundation, but it wasn't based on a foundation of love. It was based on a foundation of control, a foundation of manipulation. We can see this when we actually go back to religion and what religion was supposed to be, especially with the very beginning of Christ consciousness. It was the principle of love. It was the principle of unity consciousness. It was the principle of interconnectedness. But that principle was actually, those teachings were actually corrupted to take away your divinity and put in place corruption of leadership. Where the teaching was actually that you are divine yourself, that you have power yourself, that we are all one. But there was division, there was separation that was put into place. Now, what they had shown to me previously was everything we have been through as a planet, historically, was necessary for our growth and learning and experience, for the universe's learning, growth, and experience. We talk a little bit about this with manifestation. With manifestation, sometimes you have unpleasant experiences for contrast that shows you what you don't want in order to redefine what it is that you do. Unpleasant experiences, really pulling back and looking at it from a big, broader perspective, unpleasant experiences in the course of history is that contrast. We're moving out of an energy of contrast. Now we're moving into an energy of abundance. That is what fifth dimensional consciousness really is all about. It's abundance and prosperity mindset. But we had to go through all of the suffering and all of the upheaval in order to experience that, in order to understand that, in order to say we're not going to live that way anymore because we don't have to. Because we recognize our power, because we recognize our divinity, because we recognize our sovereign nature, because we recognize that we are one with the universe. And because we're one with the universe, we're not separate from anything in the universe. And because we're not separate from anything in the universe, we can create this brand new world, full of peace, full of harmony, full of abundance and prosperity. So, okay, we're going to move on to sacred partners now. You guys are playing a vital role in this process. We talked about this in the past few readings. There is no coincidence that you met your sacred partner when you did, that you had your spiritual awakening and were launched on this ascension journey when you did. Because what you have been doing up until this point is healing yourself. And you heal yourself in order to help to heal the planet, in order to rise into this sovereignty and to rise into this power, to recognize your own divinity. The more you shine your light, the more you recognize your own divinity, the more you're able to help others. And many of you are stepping into mission, stepping into service in order to serve humanity in this way, by shining your light, by shining your love. With these sacred partners, you really recognize that you are love. First and foremost, you are loved and you are love. That is who you are as soul. That is the truth of who you are. Everything else is just identity. Everything else is just ego. First and foremost, the most important truth is that you are love and you are light and you are soul. And what they just said is you are source energy itself. You are made up of the universe itself. That is divinity. That is the beauty of you. And the more you recognize that, the more you are able to shine. And the more you're able to shine, the more you're able to be of service to others. And when I say shine, I mean stepping into your light, not holding yourself back, not letting fear rule you, not letting past traumas or suffering or experiences or heartbreak pull that light down, to dim that light. You are meant to shine. And that's what you've been doing on this ascension journey, is you have been clearing out any karma or heartbreak or pain or trauma, anything that is holding you back from the truth of who you are, anything that is holding you back from expressing yourself. I'll be honest with you guys, I was nervous to do this video. And I've been doing videos for you guys for a year and a half now. Sharing myself doesn't scare me. Sharing my truth doesn't scare me, especially with the spiritual community. But outside the spiritual community, it makes me a little bit nervous because I don't know how it's going to be received. And that comes from a past lifetime of persecution, of speaking my truth and not being understood, not being heard. That's what you're doing. You are clearing out past lifetimes. You're clearing out past karma in this lifetime. Anywhere where you were wounded, anywhere where you were held back, anywhere where you were devalued, anywhere where you felt like you weren't enough, anywhere where you were unloved, abandoned, rejected. You're clearing out ancestral lines, clearing out family lines, lineage. You're clearing out for the collective as a whole. You have been doing the work, and Spirit is so incredibly proud of you. Look at where you are now, and look at where you were a few weeks ago, a few months ago, a few years ago. Look at the beautiful transformation that has taken place. That is no coincidence. It's because you put in the work. It's because you put in the effort. It's because you took the time to heal. Now, when we say that you were healing, you were never broken. But what you were just doing was clearing out all that, what I like to call that soul sludge, that kept you just in that dense energy. And the more you cleared out that soul sludge, the more you ascended, the more you opened up to Spirit, the more you opened up to what they're saying is the fantastic. They're reminding me of, I thought dragons were just mythical creatures that my brother loved. You know, that he loved to like collect little figurines and stuff. I've been channeling dragons for the past year. They are powerful. And what they actually channeled to me a few weeks ago was a dragon that was actually burning fire and clearing out any of the negative energy around us. They are powerful allies for us. They are part of our spirit team. There is nothing in this world that is improbable and impossible. There is nothing in this world that is too fantastical. What you imagine exists. And what you focus on, you create. And so you're at this point in the ascension journey. You have shifted in consciousness, opened up. Your crown chakra opened up to the divine, opened up your third eye to understand, to connect and understand how powerful you are, number one, how infinite the universe is, number two, and that you are always interconnected. So with these sacred partners, with these sacred unions, the time is now. You have been working, both of you, to ascend and awaken to your strength. That's really what you're doing. We talk about the divine masculine, divine feminine energies. And what's really happening is the balance is being restored at this time. That's what's happening. And it's because of the work that you've been doing to balance the energies within yourself. As within, so without. You see the balance of the restoration of the masculine and feminine energies within you, rising from the distortion to the divine. And as you balance that out within you, you see that come together within your physical partnership with your divine counterpart. And as you come together within your physical relationship with your divine counterpart, then guess what? That love, that relationship, that partnership, that sacred union then expands and ripples out to affect the world. And you help to balance out the world itself in those energies itself. That's the ripple effect of your vibration. Remember, we talked about that a little bit in the beginning as well. Your vibration has an impact on the world. If you hold a negative vibration, that's what will manifest. If you hold a higher vibration, that's what will manifest. So as you hold that vibration of love and harmony within yourself and balance and peace within yourself, and remain steadfast within yourself, you're helping this entire situation because you're counteracting the fear and the anxiety and the pain and the suffering that people are feeling. You being in your sovereign strength, maintaining that balance within. And you might feel that fear every once in a while. You know, a few days ago, I actually felt that collective fear, and I worked with my spirit team to help transmute that, to come back to a place of peace, to come back to a place of balance, to come back to a place of knowing that no matter what, we're going to be okay. No matter what, it is going to be okay. A lot of the fear and uncertainty that's happening right now is because people feel powerless and they feel out of control. And that's also what you learn on this ascension journey. You learn to let go of the control. You learn that you are powerful when you're co-creating with the universe, when you're in connection with the universe, when you have faith within the universe, especially for divine feminine energy. And remember, you hold both masculine and feminine energy within you. Especially for the divine feminine energy, that is what you learn to have faith in. That you can only control yourself. And your power is in understanding yourself. But that you can't control the outside environment. You don't have to. You don't have to because you create from within. So the more you stay in balance and harmony within yourself, the more that will reflect in your outside world. And all you have to do is be in a state of allowance, be in a state of acceptance, and be in a state of flow. And allow the universe to do its job. Allow the universe to align with you and with it, whatever it is that you're trying to manifest. So a really pivotal time for sacred unions right now, because you've done the work to come into harmony, and harmony is what the world needs right now. Balance is what the world needs right now. And a lot of you are coming into mission, and the most important part of your mission is love. Whatever it is that you choose to do in your physical 3D world, as far as career, as far as service, it could be like we're seeing these heroes, the frontline workers, doctors, nurses, grocery store clerks, sanitizers, sanitation workers. Everybody is playing a role. You're playing a role by watching this video. You're playing a role by holding the light. And honestly, you might never get thanked for it. Those who are in the midst of the fear and the anxiety and the uncertainty might not recognize. They might see you as, they might see your lack of, how do I put this? They might see your balance and your peace and your faith that everything's going to be okay as lack of compassion, when that couldn't be further from the truth. You have so much compassion, but you're seeing things from the higher perspective, and you have that understanding because that you have that higher level of consciousness, and it's because of that you're maintaining that balance, and you're maintaining that harmony, and you're maintaining that love. And because you're maintaining that love and that harmony and that balance, you're actually doing an immense job of counteracting the fear. You guys are doing work here too, and you might never get thanked for it, but that's okay because that is what you're here for. You are here to hold the vibration of love. And you, no matter what it is that you're doing in your physical reality, that is your job as light workers, to hold the love, to be the embodiment of love. And as sacred partners, when you come together, your love just grows exponentially. And together you can embark on your mission, whatever it is that you choose to do in your physical 3D reality, whether that's volunteering or service or reading tarot cards or being on YouTube or, working with children or doctors or, whatever it is, however it is that you feel pulled in your, whatever lights you up. Remember, we talked about that too. Whatever your soul is guiding you to do, that's your mission. But your true mission is to be the embodiment of love, to be love. That is your true mission. You are love. And you hold that vibration of love steady, and that's how you truly change the world. Because everything is energetics. And you change the world through the energy of love. All right, you guys. They're pulling back, so I feel like that's the end of the video, so I'm going to pull back. Do make sure, I'm going to post some links in the description box below where we channel some of these messages. I wanted to kind of do this video to put it all together. They asked me to put it all together. I have to actually watch this back and see what the heck I just channeled, but I hope I translated everything correctly. I just wanted to bring a different perspective to it. Shed a little light, shed a little hope and love into the collective right here. So I hope that this is resonating with you. Make sure you stay tuned because we're going to be talking about this going forward as well in readings. We'll have, I'm sure, some more downloads and more channeled messages, but really, take care of yourselves. Hold that vibration steady, transmute when you're called to, and, take care of yourselves and take care of others. Be kind to yourselves and gentle at this time. Be compassionate towards yourself and to others. All right. I am sending you guys so much love, so much light, and I will see you soon.